Plebeians, it's been a while. Justin with the Balding Plebs, and today we're doing our little Pokemon market checkup here at the end of 2024 post Black Friday sale. And I have to tell you guys, this is one thing that always surprises me, is the TCG market currently, right? We went through this, I guess they would call it a 2-year bear market where nobody wanted anything. I remember I have a local card shop. And here's the funny part. I got to tell you guys a quick story before I get into this. My videos are a little bit different. For those of you who are coming here for a quick wham bam, thank you ma'am, and get on to the next one, my channel is not the place for you. So anyway, when I was a kid, we used to go to this card shop. And my mom would take us down there, and my brother and I would get a few Magic the Gathering cards. We'd get a few, we'd get a few Pokemon cards or whatever. And then we'd go home and we'd play cards. We play Magic, we play Pokemon. As I got a little bit older, we played Yu-Gi-Oh! Once or twice. My brother was never really big into Yu-Gi-Oh! But so we would play these card games and we'd go down to this card shop. And I remember one time I went down there and there was this card that I really wanted, Sliver Queen from Stronghold. It was $20. And I have to tell you guys, at the time, right, I thought, oh my God, $20, this is ridiculous. There's no way I'm paying $20 for a card. Are you kidding me? Which, of course, at the time, first edition Pokemon cards, you get up into $40, $50, and $60. And I remember people screaming to the high hills, they're never going to be worth that much. Oh, my God. And, of course, everybody was fighting over them and blah, 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 blah. So my mom, for my birthday one year, I think it was like 10 or 11, bought me this Magic the Gathering Stronghold Sliver Queen. It was my favorite card, and it still is one of my favorite cards to this day. I think I have like 6 of them graded now and like 7 or 8 raw copies, whatever. Well, anyway, the card now is worth between $200 and $300 depending on the condition it's in. So I guess it's kind of funny how things change. But I remember going to this card shop, and I remember the man that worked there. He was always super nice to my brother and I, very welcoming, very cool dude. Recently, about a year ago, I started going to this new card shop that popped up in the city where I'm from. And I walk in, and this guy looks so familiar. Damn, does he look familiar. Then I get talking to him, and I'm listening to his voice. Man, does this guy sound familiar. And so finally I said to him, hey, I know this is going to sound weird, but did you used to have a card shop on such and such street? And he's like, yeah, that was me. I'm like, bro, you're my childhood. I'm like, my mom used, and I told him the story and he thought that was really cool. And of course, he was working out of a small office space for a while just because rent in the one area got really expensive. So he had to kind of switch locations for his stores. But I thought that was a really cool experience I had recently. And I wanted to share that with all of you guys. I also want to start out by giving a big shout out to the people that really are hyper supporters of this channel, the Tech TVs Forever, the IT Mans. Of course, I have to shout out Kill It Sean and the rest of my patrons. The people who are giving donations, who are watching the live streams, Rafterman, Deflection, the people who are coming on, giving chats. Thank you guys so much for being a big part of this channel. Thank you guys. You guys are a lot of the reason I still do this. I don't have to do YouTube at all. This is definitely a choice for me. YouTube is not a necessity. I have a full-time and a half day job where I'm incredibly successful. And I want to thank you guys for coming out and supporting the Balding Plebs. So let's get into what you guys all came here for. This is interesting to me. The Pokemon market right now is red hot. Actually, let's take a step back. Trading cards in general right now are red hot. It was starting up before Papa Trump won the election. And now, after he won the election and the big crypto jump, it's getting even hotter. We've seen a lot of things lately giving us these signals that it's going to get crazier before it cools off. So what I mean is, let's talk about a few things that I've noticed first. When the price of crypto goes up, the sell-through rate on trading cards and collectibles goes up. I've heard Rudy and both Nostalgianomics talk about this in their videos, and I think they're both correct. I definitely think they're both correct. You see people getting that big hit on those trades, the big cash return on those trades, and they think, well, it's time for me to cycle some money into something else. I got a bunch of money from my $98,000 Bitcoin here. Now I'm going to cycle it into a couple ETFs, maybe a couple stocks, and you know what? I'm going to buy a case of Silver Tempest or Stellar Crown or whatever the hell. So this one thing that I've noticed in the current market is that as people are making money in a relatively positive stock market, as people are making money there, they're cycling those gains into other areas. Whether it's sealed video games, whether it's other sealed collectibles, whether it's trading card games, whether it's new trading card games, I'm starting to see that kind of stuff. Another thing that I'm noticing is I'm hopping into some of these live streams. I was in a Nostalgianomics live stream last night. Q was over an hour long. Big shout out to Alex. Massive props and congratulations to you, bro. And I see more and more people spending money on these alternative sites. Like, okay, instead of just going on TCG Player and buying, I don't know, 20 packs of Crown Zenith at $4.67 a pack, I'm going to go on Alex's live stream and I'm going to pay whatever his price is, and I'm going to have them ripped live, shipped to me, and I'm going to have it opened there with all the viewers, right? So I'm going to go on Whatnot, and I'm going to go see Jay's Cards, or I don't even know if that's a channel, but I'm going to go see some random channel on Whatnot, find the pack I'm looking for, and I'm going to rip 20 packs on Whatnot and have them ship it to me. I'm seeing more and more people go to those alternative sites and do that kind of stuff, whether it's pack openings, booster box openings, or other things like that, or looking for singles. So I'm seeing more people flocking to those alternative sites. I'm seeing larger viewership on some of those streams and on some of them lives, which, you know, hey, get your bag. I think that's smart. I used to do it too. I used to sell singles, and I used to rip packs on Whatnot. So I really, that's something that tells me, hey, this market's getting even hotter than it was. I remember for a while we were kind of in a market where nobody wanted anything, right? Nobody wanted anything. And I remember looking at some of these. I remember scrolling through some of these different sets. I have a whole bunch of sets brought up for you guys today. And one I actually want to really highlight is Scarlet and Violet Base. I remember I walked into that card shop I was telling you guys about. And I remember walking in there, and this owner and I were having a conversation. He was selling SV Base for $80 a box. And I kind of said to him, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, SV Base is going to be a big winner. He looked me dead in the eyes and he said, Justin, nobody wants it. I'm like, how does nobody want SV Base? First of all, look at some of the top hits. The beautiful Miriam, the Gardevoir EX, even the Ralts, the Kirlia, the Drowsy, the Slowpoke, even the new legendary, the Miraidon, Koraidon EXs, the Riolu. I mean, these are some beautiful cards. And I said, how does nobody want these? I remember when people were fighting over the Miriams. I remember it. I remember when the Gardevoir was the only thing people were talking about. I remember I wanted to get Ralts, Kirlia, and Gardevoir because I want the full generational art rare piece. I'm going to frame it. I'm going to put it on my wall. Like, I remember these people talking about that stuff, right? And it seems like so long ago that this came out. So he's telling me about this. And he said, yeah, Justin, nobody wants it. I have to put it on sale. Okay, so I went home and I came back in a couple of weeks. And this was when the Pokemon sets, Rudy was talking about it, when they first jumped in price. I think Mr. P Paldea Evolved. I think that went up to like 130 or 140, and people couldn't believe it. This was the very first time the thing jumped in price. So you guys can follow me on the timeline here. This is like the Avengers universe. You guys are gonna really have to. I have ADHD. You guys are really gonna have to. You guys are really gonna have to hang in there, okay? So I remember the first time prices jumped. And people, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is no way. This is manipulation. You know, it's always manipulation. We can't just face the fact that the stuff's actually valuable. And I went in to the card shop and I said, hey, I bet you're happy with those price jumps because SV Base had gone to $100 on TCG Player. He said, yeah, well, nobody's buying them. And I'm still sitting here thinking to myself, this is an opportunity. This can't be. People, there's no way. And I remember thinking that, and I said, dude, there's no way people are letting SV Base sit on the shelf. There's just no freaking way. So I went on TCG Player that night. I just watched a Rudy video talking about these prices and how this was the end and you were not going to see these prices again. And actually, to be fair, he was right. Nobody ever likes to admit when Rudy's right, only when he's wrong, because that makes good content. He was right, first of all. Second of all, I saw SV Base cases for $480. Guys, that's $80 a box before tax. So I bought one. And the next week, after it came in and they were still $480, I bought another one. There was no way I was going to leave that kind of deal on the table. There was absolutely no freaking way I was leaving that on the table. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, all these other sets, every single one of them is going up in price. All of them. This was, and my brain couldn't understand because let's just take a super quick moment and let's look. Let's take a super quick look here at Sword and Shield Base. Sword and Shield Base booster boxes are $229 right now. Sword and Shield booster box case base, $2,100. Now, I don't want to feed you guys false information. And there's only 2 of these on the market. Guys, I remember seeing some of that stuff. And I remember thinking to myself, Scarlet and Violet base, even at half of that, or even at 2/3 of that, would be wild. And it has infinitely better hits than Sword and Shield Base, which I actually didn't think that was that good of a set, personally. In fact, a lot of people felt that way. I didn't think it was that impressive. So I remembered that, right? I want you guys to take that message with you. I want you guys to take that lesson that I learned with you as you try to navigate this Pokemon, this trading card market. And another thing I remember was sitting there and watching all these people avoid these new Magic the Gathering sets. And it just kept going and going and going and going. And we saw Fallout come out. We saw Bloomburrow come out. We saw all these other sets come out. And everybody was the same attitude. It was like, well, I'm not touching. I'll wait for the Amazon dumps. I remember that. I was one of them. I remember it. And for a while, my brain was just kind of like, bro, why do you buy anything at release? Why open anything at release when things are just going to get, they're just going to get hammered on Amazon? They're going to lose all their value and you're going to lose all your money. So I remember going through those mental battles with myself and saying, you know what? I'm going to just cool it on Magic the Gathering, and I'm going to sit at the sidelines, and I'm going to watch what happens. Well, all of a sudden, WotC got it through their head, Hasbro got it through their head, and they started printing less. And with Secret Lair, they started printing limited supplies. So now you went from having as many packs, as many boxes, as many of these things as you needed. You went from a huge glut of supply in late 21, 22, and 23. And now you went to a situation where there is no supply. And you have people that want this stuff and people that are like looking for this stuff. Well, now it's gone. Now there is none of this stuff. And you have prices now, instead of going from 200 to 120 and bankrupting stores and killing small stores, you have prices going from 200 to 300, 200 to 400. In the case of Fallout, 200 to 5, 6, and 700. So you have a whole new environment to navigate. You have a whole new environment to study and learn and navigate. And I think it's really, really fascinating how the customer and the consumer's viewpoint shifts. See, I'm a businessman, right? For those of you that wonder, what does he do for his day job? Who would ever hire him? I'm a business owner and I'm in retail, right? So for me as a consumer and as somebody who is involved with retail, it is incredibly fascinating to me to watch how people react to certain stimuli and to see how buyers navigate certain markets. That's always been fascinating to me, why people and how people with their money and with their purchasing decisions, why and how they act the way they do. That's something that's always fascinating me. So I remember that with the Magic the Gathering market. And I remember as we could start to slowly see things turn, I went into this card shop, again, the same one I've been talking about. And I remember, seeing like Crimson Vow, a draft for 75 or 80. Collectors, I think, were like 140. But it was a dead set. It was a set that died. Some really valuable cards in it, but whatever, doesn't matter. And then I remember seeing some later sets, 22, 23 era, like 85 for the draft and whatever. And then it was like 175 for collectors, And recently I was in there on Black Friday. And this was Black Friday sale prices, by the way. I remember seeing Bloomborough collectors, they were like $225, $245. And again, Black Friday sale prices. And I remember seeing the Foundations collector boxes, again, Black Friday prices, $250. Now I know that Foundations is massively short supply. I know that it's only allegedly getting one printing for the entire Evergreen cycle. Play boxes are going to be Evergreen, but the collectors will be limited. So I remember looking at that situation, and I remember going, oh, how the turns have tabled. Because all these people now that didn't want these collector boxes before when they were 140 or 175, well, now their new price point to buy from on mega sale is 225 and 250. It's wild to me. It's crazy to me to see how markets shift like that. And actually, as I was sitting here talking about this, I saw something else I wanted to mention to you guys. I want you guys to know this. I remember when these Charizard UPCs, I remember when they were $85 at that exact same card shop. And everybody was bitching and crying and complaining because the promos weren't centered right and this, that, and the other thing, right? I get it. Okay, that sucks. That's shitty, But so I remember all this stuff. And I think I saw one store selling these for like $70. Look at them now. $179.99. Guys, as the price of packs go up, as the products age, it's crazy. It is absolutely wild to me. So let's take a look. Here we go, guys. This is Surging Sparks after Black Friday. We're up to $11.70 a case and $198.95 a booster box. I have to be totally honest with you guys. I thought those numbers would be higher. I really did. I do see that the Pikachu has kind of climbed back up a little bit. The trainer box is actually surprising me at $70 in ETB. And for the record, the $70 is just for the standard ETB. I really have been blown away by this Latias EX price and this Melodic EX price as well. Another card that it's weird to see it be so expensive is this Pikachu EX, this kind of like hyper rare gold card. Typically those gold cards don't fetch that much, and that's a card from Surging Sparks that's actually really, really surprised me. This, for me, outside of sealed booster box cases, which is something that I do purchase when I have a chance, for me, these Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box cases are one of the blue chip investments. For Prismatic Evolution, I was able to score 4 of them right when it first opened up. So hopefully they'll send me a sealed case and I'll actually have one of these. I imagine that'll be a lot like 151, and we'll see that around $1,000 before too long. So let's take a look here, guys. Stellar Crown. Again, this is a set that is known for having some really awesome art rares. Now, funny story, I had to go to the hardware store yesterday and get some paint for a remodel that I've been doing, and I bought one singular pack of Stellar Crown for $6, and I pulled this $34 Bulbasaur. So that was a really cool hit. I didn't realize it was that expensive. Yeah, so sitting right now at $119.94 a box, or case prices are $670, $684. And you know, Stellar Crown is a set I think a lot of people looked over. I think a lot of people saw the hits in it, whether it was the Dash Bum, whether it was the Hydrapple or the Terapagos, or even, you know, any of these other cards, even like you look at like the Squirtle or the Bulbasaur. I think this was a set that a lot of people looked at and said, I'm waiting for Surging Sparks. I'm waiting for the Pikachu set. So I don't think this set's going to have its day in the sun yet, but I think it will eventually. Shrouded Fable. Oh, I love Shrouded Fable. Shrouded Fable is everybody's favorite trash set. Shrouded Fable is one of those specialty sets. So that means it basically has ETBs and collections and blisters only. How do I say this nicely? I want to try to say this nicely because I know there's some people out there that are going to agree with this take, and there's some people that are going to disagree with it. This isn't so much a take as it is reality. Shrouded Fable is one of the most well-themed sets Pokemon has released in the last 10 years. Look at all of the cards on this page. Other than the gold borders and the flashy gold background on a few of them, look at every card on the best-selling page. Look at it right here. What do you guys notice? Very similar color palettes. Very similar color patterns. That's pleasing to the eyes. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, you guys will have to excuse me, I have a little bit of Concord stuck in my throat. I know a lot of you are thinking, Neil, what does that matter? Justin, what does that matter? It matters. Subconsciously, it matters. You just don't realize it. Subconsciously, it matters, though. Subconsciously, you see stuff like this, and it's very pleasing to your brain and to your psyche. I kind of want this Houndoom, but I can't tell you why. Kind of want that Persian. I can't tell you why. Dusknoir, Duskull, Dusclops. I want those 3 cards in a PSA 10 next to each other. Couldn't tell you why. Cassiopeia. Look at how it would compare with any of these other cards. Vesendipity EX, any of these cards. It would match up nice in a display, in a book. I can't tell you why. Just think about that kind of stuff. These are undercover level psyche manipulations that Pokemon Company does that you don't realize they're doing. I understand that this set got looked over, and it definitely did, because when Shrouded Fable came out, I don't remember any of the hype being there for this set like it was for the other sets. But I can tell you this right now. A few years from now, we're going to look back on Shrouded Fable and go, damn, that was a sleeper set. I missed out on that set. That was a sleeper. Should have bought it. And look at it, if you scroll down, even this Cresselia, even as bright and vibrant as the card is, it still blends in with everything pretty nicely. Something to think about, guys. Something to think about. Oh, everybody's favorite, Twilight Masquerade. Now, guys, let's take a look at this. This set came out, what was it, like a year, 8 months ago? Whatever the hell it was. I don't remember. I don't care. 150 a box, 900 a case. And let's look at some of these top hits. Waifu, Pokemon. I mean, guys, Lana's Aid. Look at that awesome Chansey, that Tatsugiri, which is actually one of my favorite cards in this new generation. I mean, look at this, guys. This is what I'm talking about. The Perrin and the Hisuian Growlithe go together. Look at that Carmine, that Eevee card, which is, of course, going to be super popular with the new Prismatic Evolutions. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Come on, let's be real. Let's be real. I like this. Again, now, you know, we talked about this previously, right? Look at this whole page of cards right here. Look at the color palettes. Look at your booster box. And look at your color palettes of all these cards. When you zoom out on these main hits in this set, these are all the main cards. Pokemon knows it, too. Everything goes together. This is good. I like it. Let's take a look at Temporal Forces. Oh, this is one of those forgotten sets. This is a set that I regret not getting my hands on a case or two of, because look at some of the main hits. That Morty's Conviction, that Ghastly, the Iron Leaves, the Raging Bolt, the Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, Iron Crown. Look at that. The Sawsbuck, the Metagross, Bianca's Devotion. Hey, speaking of Bianca's Devotion, check it out, guys. Picked up 2 of those for 65 bucks each. Awesome deal. Awesome value on those. But again, look at this now. Look at Temporal Forces. Look at the hits. The Airy, the Litten, the Deerling. Then you have all of your main big hits. I mean, beautiful cards, guys. Kind of see why the set's so expensive. But I remember when this stuff came out, nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. And now that we're in this bull market, we're post Black Friday, you guys can see a lot of us were wrong. Okay, I'm going to admit straight up, I was wrong about Paldean Fates. I haven't liked the Fates sets in years. And here's why. To me, for me, every set after Hidden Fates was a wannabe. Shining Fates was a wannabe, and I thought Paldean Fates was a wannabe. Except it wasn't. To me, Paldean Fates is as close to recreating the excitement of Hidden Fates as we've ever come. Now, this is an awesome set with a ton of really cool shiny Pokemon, a big Charizard hit, a Gardevoir hit, and a crazy expensive Bubble Mew. I like the Bubble Mew. I think it's an absolutely beautiful card. And honestly, I regret not buying it at $70 because it is a card I wanted to have in my collection. I think, let me rephrase. I know that this set is going to age very, very well. 3 to 5 years from now, I think we're going to look back on these prices and go, I should have bought it then. Paradox Rift. What do I even say? What do I even say about Paradox Rift? Oh my goodness. I looked yesterday and the lowest listing was $646, and I remember saying maybe I'll get a guy to sell it for $620 or $615. Now it's $739 or $120 a box, and how could you blame them? Look at the hits. Roaring Moon, Groudon, the Goldango, the Iron Valiant, the Yveltal, the Tapu Koko, which, by the way, is a special illustration rare. And for those of you who are into that kind of tropical theme and tropical setting, that's a pretty cool design in that card. The Iron Hands EX, the Plessy, the Minun. I don't know what else to say, guys. Some awesome hits and some awesome cards. Look at that Altaria. Altaria, I feel, is a Pokemon that doesn't get a lot of love, and it's one of the best, as far as I'm concerned. They have some of the best looking Pokemon cards. Nobody cares about 151. We're going to skip that. So look at Obsidian Flames. Look at the art on some of these cards. I want to draw your guys' attention to the Ice Cube. I want to draw your attention to that Houndour, that Scizor, the Cleffa, Pidgeot, Pidgeotto, Pidgey, the Gloom. Those are cards right here, guys. These especially. This series of cards, this Pidgey, Pidgeot, Pidgeotto. I don't know whose idea that was, but that is genius art and card design. I love it. And again, guys, $115 a box, $750, $50 case premium. All those prices are up. They're all up. So, what have I learned from these Black Friday jumps? I learned that I'm glad I did what I did. And right before Black Friday came, I bought 20 packs of 151, and I bought about 65 packs of Crown Zenith. 2 sets that I really like, and 2 sets that I'm super long on. I think 151, I think that is going to be reminiscent of Generations at some point. Again, not right away, that wouldn't make sense. But I think by the middle of next era, it will be reminiscent price-wise of Generations. And I think Crown Zenith was forgotten. We're still getting some collections here and there, but I think Crown Zenith was a forgotten set because everybody had moved on to Scarlet and Violet already, at least initially, before they were all like, no, we don't want Scarlet and Violet. I don't like the silver bordered. You said it. You know you did. I remember Crown Zenith coming out, and I remember people kind of looking at it and just kind of like moving on. Because there was, I still talk to my buddy about this. My buddy and I both buy Pokemon Sealed, and I still talk to him about this. And we still have this conversation like, dude, can you believe that people are sleeping on Crown Zenith? He just shakes his head every time. It is such a disappointment. The fact that that's $4.50 a pack is mind-boggling to me. I'm a buy, and I'm a continue buying all the way through $6 a pack. I think it is a disgustingly underrated set. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes. Oh. Do you guys remember when this was $80 a box? I do. You guys remember when this was $600 a case? $500 a case? I do. Do you guys remember when this was $500 a case? I do. You guys remember when everybody had this stuff? I do. You guys remember when nobody wanted this set? I do. That's it. That's our Pokemon market checkup. This entire market right now is baffling to me. And it's been an absolute pleasure to watch over the course of the last year the way consumers' attitudes have shifted towards Pokemon, Magic, and other TCGs. It's always interesting for me to watch the way buying patterns change and people's attitudes towards different things change as the market changes. Now, if you ask me, I would say a lot of that change has been due to the fact that you can make money on it again. I'm not stupid. I understand that. But it's also just is so interesting to me. To watch the way people's attitudes shift. This, to me, is the big draw of Crown Zenith. This, to me, is the reason you open Crown Zenith. Right here. It's one of my favorite cards. It's another one of my favorite cards. Yeah, I'm calling it now. Crown Zenith, $15 a pack by 2027. Remind me. I hope you guys enjoyed this Pokemon market update, Neo with Balding Plebs. Let me know your thoughts on these different sets in the comments. GG, Plebs.